Good evening and welcome to the City Council special meeting of Tuesday, November 21st, 2023. Two items on the agenda, the first of which is discussion regarding the status of the FYE 2024 capital budget or capital improvements program budget and preparation of the FYE 25 capital improvements program budget. You're queued up.
All right. So thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Jacob Huckabee, Budget Technician here in the Finance Department, here with the Budget Manager, Kim Kaufman. Today I'm going to be talking about the FYE 24 Capital Improvement Program budget status, as well as starting the preparation for the FYE 25 CIP.
How scary is that? 2025.
All right, so this is just some of the important dates to remember in the CIP process. So we have today, and then our next meeting is February 6th, where we're going to discuss some of the proposed new projects, as well as go over the midpoint evaluations. And then again on May 7th, we're going to meet, that's after the preliminary budget's been printed, to review the final proposed plan, go over any amendments that might be coming up for the budget adoption. That will be on June 11th. So just some quick background before we get into the projects. The purpose of the CIP is to support the various services in the municipal government. All these projects are identified in our long-range master plans. They're all reviewed by citizens and they're adopted by council. The priorities of these are also set by council, both short range and long range. The short range is voted on each year and adopted in 1-year appropriations. The 5-year plan, which is the long range plan, that's a schedule of implementation that's included in the budget books as well. Throughout the year, if emergencies pop up, council always has the ability to make reallocations or appropriations if emergencies or new priorities pop up as well. So what is a capital project? Projects that are usually more than $100,000. They're relatively fixed or permanent in nature. They're an asset with an expected life of more than 5 years. So these are going to be things like new buildings, a repair of a building, a new road, things of that nature, and they usually take more than 1 fiscal year to complete as well. On the flip side, we have capital outlay. These are going to be items that are expected life of around 1 to 5 years. These are one-time occurrences, and they happen year to year, and they happen within a single fiscal year. These are things like vehicles, computers, furniture, and personnel equipment. Within the CIP budget, these are all the funds that are included in that. Most notably, we have the capital fund. We have the pay-go portion, which is funded by the capital sales tax. And we also have the portion that's funded by the general obligation bonds that are all voter approved. In that budget is also the enterprise funds. We're not going to be talking about those today. They're going to have their own meeting, but they're also included in the budget whenever that's printed and presented to council. So the Capital Improvements Fund was established since 1976 to account for capital projects funded by the capital sales tax. These projects support services that don't have a dedicated special revenue, such as the enterprise funds. The capital fund is funded by the 0.7% sales tax that was set aside in 1976. Those projects approved for construction with this funding are accounted for in this Capital Improvements Fund. And so with this sales tax, we have some of these guidelines. These are not set in stone guidelines. If you'll recall, last year we switched and changed the maintenance of existing facilities to 7% and lowered the contingency to 5%. These can be pretty fluid and changed when council adopts the budget, but these are a good starting point whenever we start the budget process to make sure that we're sticking to what the priorities that council has previously set. So as for the status of the capital fund, for FYE 24, we have our estimated for available for new projects in the negative $3 million. In FYE 25, we're actually projecting to have a positive amount of $560,000 available for new projects. And then in the following year, in FYE 26, we're projecting about $6 million available for new projects.
Yes, sir.
Can you just go into a quick breakdown on how those things are structured? Like, why is one negative? Just a little explain.
Yeah, so it's all just based on like whenever we have the fund summaries and we put them together, we have all of our revenue that comes in and we account for all those projects on a yearly basis, so we take those out. And then we also have our bond reserves that we account for all those big bond projects. So whenever we take those out as well, we have what's left over for our PAYCO projects, which is this number. If that makes sense.
Thank you.
So now we'll move on to the project status updates. So these are some of the closed out projects that we have in FYE '24. The most notable ones on this list, the biggest ones are going to be the Porter Avenue and Acre Street intersection bond project at $4 million and the East Alameda Street bond project at $4.5 million. We also have the Flood Avenue sidewalks, the Creston Way and Schultz drainage project, the Merkle Creek stabilization project, the storm warning system scoping, the Midway Drive flooding scoping, the engineering design criteria update, the historical museum roof replacement, and the Andrews Park accessible playground project. Some of the projects that are currently underway in FYE '24, we have the TMDL compliance and monitoring plan implementation, that's year 8. We have the Lake Thunderbird TMDL data analysis and plan update for years 1 through 5. The Lower Imhoff channel stabilization phases 1 and 2. The vehicle wash facility, 80 new bus stops, the 12th Avenue Northeast and High Meadows intersection project, the Constitution Street multimodal path, the stormwater park development at Carter and Alameda, the Sutton Wilderness Trail and parking lot additions that are funded through a recreational trails grant, and at Reese Park, new restroom buildings and a new sports field maintenance building as well. So some more projects under construction in FYE '24. We have the municipal complex renovation, the Classen Boulevard sidewalks that are bidding in late winter of '23, the Gray Street two-way conversion that had the bid opening on November 16th of '23, James Garner Phase 2, the Porter Avenue Streetscape Bond Project, the Downtown Transit Center, James Garner Phase 3, which has a bid opening this December, the Traffic Management Center, which is opening the bid in January, and the Flood Street Multimodal Path, which is opening the bid in February. So now some projects within the capital fund. We're going to start with the 2021 street maintenance bond that was approved by voters in 2021. We have the different categories. We have the preventative maintenance, the urban reconstruction, and the urban concrete, as well as the urban asphalt and the rural asphalt. And this is just a breakdown of year by year this program. The first 2 years are fully complete, and year 3 preventative maintenance is complete, and all of the other categories are underway, getting bids ready or under construction or design. Next, we have the 2012 Transportation and Stormwater Bond Program. All of these projects, except for one, have been completed. The last one to finish up was the Alameda Street project, which completed in August of 2023. And then the only project left on this program is the 36th Avenue Northwest Tecumseh Road to Indian Hills project, which we'll talk about in a minute, but it is still pending federal funds to get that project completed. So this is some more detail on that East Alameda Street bond project. It was fully funded without federal funds. The construction on this project began in April of 2022, and it finished up in August of 2023. And then we have the 36th Avenue Northwest project. This is going to widen 2 miles of road from Tecumseh all the way up to Indian Hills. It's going to also improve access to Ruby Grant Park with a construction budget of $17.8 million. All of the waterline relocation was completed in fall of 2022. The only reason the construction is pending is due to a delay in federal funds. We've applied for the RAISE grant in 21 and 22, applied for the Safe Streets for All in 2023, and applied to ACOG grants every year since 2016 to get this project going. As soon as we get those federal funds secured for this project, it's shovel ready on the city side. So we'll be ready to go as soon as those are secured.
Yes, sir.
Just also note that I think every year at the DC fly-in, at least both the times I've gone, it's been something we've directly asked Congressman Cole and basically all of the Oklahoma delegation about helping us get funded, so
Yeah, we talked about
I
it
think
this.
we've tried
year,
back
too.
everything.
Yeah,
So-
it's just hard to do.
All right, so with this project, 36th Avenue Northwest, With the OTA's proposed Access Oklahoma Turnpike plan, this will impact the project. The boundaries will be reduced to south of Indian Hills Road with an estimated cost reduction of just over $4.9 million, revising that total project cost to $12.8 million. But again, this project still remains on hold until we can get those additional funds secured for this project. We also have the 2019 Transportation Bond Project program. The first project on this program was the Porter Avenue and Acre Street intersection, which has been completed. We have 4 projects that we've secured federal funding for already: the Porter Avenue Streetscape, the Gray Street two-way conversion, the Traffic Management Center, and the Jenkins Avenue project. And the James Garner Phase 3 Acres to Duffy is going to be completed using only bond funds. For the Porter Avenue Streetscape project, this is a $5.7 million project with $2.8 million of federal funding secured. It's going to add decorative lighting, ADA improvements, new bus stops, and it's been beginning construction in spring of 2023, and they're looking to complete in spring of 2024. This is not a 2019 program, but it's tied a program project, but it's tied to the next one. This is James Garner Phase 2. This is the Norman Forward project. This is from acres to flood. This is a $9.5 million Norman Forward project with $4.8 million of federal funds secured for this project. This is going to begin construction in 2023. It's already began, and they're completing construction in spring of 2024. And that is going to tie into James Garner Phase 3 from Duffy to Acre Street. This is the 2019 program project. It's funded just by those 2019 GO bonds. It's going to add pedestrian and ADA improvements, signalized intersection at Main Street, as well as railroad crossing improvements. It's going to begin construction in spring of '24 and complete construction around spring of 2025. And the total estimated cost is just under $6.1 million for this project.
Yes, sir.
I see signalized intersection at Main Street. You might not be able to answer this question, but I know that has been the holdup on us converting Main Street to two-way. Is that intersection, I mean, is that the signalized intersection we're talking about? Mr.
I
O'Leary?
would defer to Sean.
Would you repeat the question?
So I've always heard that the holdup on converting Main to two-way is the signalized intersection to the tracks. Will this qualify as that, or would we need a secondary signalized intersection?
I don't think the signal at Main has been a reason for not converting Main. I think that was really a council decision to really get the James Garner built and Gray Street built and all those, and Porter built, and then just kind of see how the traffic behaves before we pull the trigger on the Main Street conversion. I think that was the driver. This one, I think all of our project managers here, but the signalization at Main and James Garner was prompted by the projections of traffic, large numbers of new traffic using James Garner that's never been there before. And that creates a conflict with large numbers of traffic on Main Street. So about 12, just put in numbers, about 12,000 cars a day running up and down Main Street.
Yeah.
And we're projecting 17,000 cars a day on James Garner. That's a projection. It's a crystal ball that the traffic engineers look into, and it's been vetted by multiple of those. So I trust it, but we're guessing. We really don't know what's going to happen on a brand new road that's never been there before. But suffice to say, we think James Garner is a major traffic carrier. And when that happens and you intersect with another major traffic carrier, signalization really is the only option.
Absolutely. Well, no, I'm glad to see we're taking care of it in this project, and just going to go on the record again saying as soon as we can convert Main Street to two-way, green light.
Yeah. And I'll mention that the James Garner design on this one does include the ultimate conversion
Okay.
of Main to a two-way street, so left turn lanes, all that stuff.
Okay, I just want to make sure that foresight is put into, okay, thank you very much.
I was just going
That
to
was
say,
it?
yeah, it was being, from my recollection, being designed to accommodate the future two-way conversion. So, thanks.
All right, so now we have the Gray Street two-way conversion project. This is funded by both GO bond funds and a federal grant. Going to convert Gray Street's two-way traffic, add pedestrian ADA improvements, as well as a signalized intersection at James Garner. It's going to begin construction in spring of 2024, looking to complete construction in spring of '25. It's a total estimated cost of just over $5.4 million, with $2.2 million of federal funds secured for this project as well. And then again, with the OTA's proposed turnpike plan, this is going to have some impacts on some of the future projects in this 2019 bond program. The first is the Indian Hills Road from 48th Avenue Northwest to I-35. That's going to be reconstructed by the OTA at no cost to the city. That's going to save in these bond funds just over $8.4 million. And then the second is going to be Indian Hills and I-35 interchange. We're originally planning to add matching funds of $2 million that won't be required anymore. And so the total estimated savings from the turnpike plan is just over $10.4 million. All of these savings have to be used on these 2019 Transportation Bond Program projects until they're completed as well, so they wouldn't be able to be used elsewhere.
I was curious, do you have an ETA on the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority's east-west connection?
I do not.
I just read an article this morning
Yeah.
that they indicated the east-west would consist of a series of projects that would happen over the next 5 years. So it sounds like it is teed up as one of the priority projects to start at Newcastle, start coming this way. But
So
within
you-
5 years, they anticipate much of that east-west alignment to be completed.
So realistically, we're not seeing the savings until 5 years from now?
Sometime during that 5-year
Okay.
period,
But we won't see it as a block, we'll see it in little chunks.
pieces.
I think we'll know, though, once the Turnpike Authority has confirmed that that project is happening, you'll be able to make decisions about these projects. But certainly, it might be done in phases, but they're gonna do the whole thing eventually. So council might be in a position next year or the year after to start deciding what to do with the surplus funds. Mayor, can I speak to the previous slide?
Please do, sir.
I don't know there's ever a good time to give you bad news, but we took, RODOT took bids on this project, the Gray Street project, last Thursday, and the news isn't very good. We had one bidder, or they had one bidder, this is not a city bid project, ODOT had one bidder. We're not sure why that is, that rarely happens, we like to have 4 or 5 bidders. That one bidder submitted a very high bid, so the construction engineer's estimate was $4.5 million. The bid came in at $6.8 million. ODOT by policy has to reject that bid, so we're all very disappointed. We know you are too. So we're not exactly starting over on the project, but the soonest that ODOT can rebid the Gray Street two-way conversion would be March of '24. So we know we're gonna lose 4 months at the very least. Our staff, Scott and the team and all the designers are trying to figure out what happened. We really don't know yet, whether it's just pure inflation, whether it's just, there's so much work out there in Oklahoma. We knew this was coming a little bit on these road building contractors. We didn't think it was gonna happen on this project, frankly, but, so whether there's a redesign or a reevaluation of the project, that's just beginning now, working with our ODOT partners. We hope to bid it in March, and then you'd be under construction, not in spring '24, but probably June '24. So we're not gonna lose a ton of time if we can get the project packaged and get it under the appropriate cost estimate. As this hasn't happened for, that I can remember, on a road project. Certainly not 50% over the estimate. So we just don't know what happened. Neither does ODOT.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Related to the OTA and 36th Avenue, from Franklin north to Indian Hill Road, and then from Indian Hill Road north to the Moore city limits, would this impact those two or half of the 36 project and then that northern section?
Yes, sir, it would. I mean, imagine what we're seeing on the concept drawings for the OTA is a full interchange at 36 and a very full interchange at I-35. So just imagine the distance, both north and south, that they're gonna have to go to get the turnpike and then all the connections back to 36 build. So we think that the improvements to 36th Avenue will go as far as about a half a mile south, half the way to Franklin Road, which is the a half mile that we don't have to build. And the same is true going to the north, it might end up going as far as to the Moore City limits. So certainly impacting our 36th Avenue project, 2 of those, and then certainly impacting our Indian Hills Road project, which is right now, we think is the alignment of the new turnpike.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Just real quick on the Gray Street project, did ODOT reject that because they had to have a minimum number of bids or something?
No, well, more so the money, it's so far over.
So far,
the
okay.
estimate. They've got a share in it, of course, the
Okay.
federal funds are capped, but, we were pretty certain council wouldn't want to come up with another $2.5 million.
No.
That hasn't happened, it'll happen officially at the next, on the Transportation Commission meeting, which would be early December.
Okay,
But generally, we've never seen them award a project this far
that's
out of whack.
kind of what I was wondering. Thank you.
All right, so now we have a graph showing Norman's Surface Transportation Block Grant Program funding history. As you can see, it's a little back and forth sometimes. In FYE '24, we had just over $8.6 million. And in FYE '25, we have just over $1.4 million. I believe this is for 2 projects. One is for some bus replacements, and the other is for video detection, I believe. So that's going to be what covers the 1.4 million for FYE '25. Next, we have the city's vehicle replacement program. Historically, the past few years, we've appropriated about just over $2 million from the capital fund, the capital outlay portion, to go towards vehicle replacement. That's usually gotten us anywhere from 20 to 30 units. In '24, we also had the $2.2 million of capital sales tax outlay money that went towards vehicle replacement, but council also decided to include general fund money and Caesar funds to help bring that number up to just under $6.9 million for vehicle replacement, and that allowed staff to get 46 vehicles in FYE '24. I think with this one, it's also important to point out that whenever fleet submits their critical replacement list, in FYE '24, there was 128 vehicles submitted on that critical replacement list at around $10 million. And so we were able to get quite a few more, but there's still quite a few left on that list to get covered to keep up with the fleet's replacement needs.
Just reminding council that there were quite a few questions about this last council meeting, and just understand that that seizure money is gone. Okay, that's kind of it. And the general fund money that was supplemented for vehicle replacement, understand that that's for replacement. That's not the additional vehicles that would go for the SRO program. So just understand that that's, you really focused in on that this year, but that's kind of done it now.
All right, so this slide is showing some of the recurring sidewalk projects that we had adopted in FYE '24. We have the sidewalks for schools and arterials, the sidewalk accessibility project, the 50/50 citywide sidewalk project, downtown area sidewalks, sidewalks trails, the horizontal saw cut program, and 5 additional FYE '24 sidewalks that were added in. All these totaled out to $636,000 of sidewalk projects in FYE '24. And these are some additional recurring projects that were adopted in FYE '24. We have the capital outlay, that's that 27% that is from the capital sales tax. We have street maintenance, the maintenance of existing facilities, stormwater drainage maintenance. We have some personnel costs, the ODOT audit adjustments. Bridge maintenance was $1 million in FYE '24. Driveway repairs, street striping, traffic calming, the community and neighborhood improvements project, and the ADA compliance program, all at just over $13.2 million of recurring projects.
Yes, ma'am.
So with the passage of the bridge maintenance bond program, are we still going to be appropriating $1 million to additional bridge maintenance? Because I know we weren't able to get everything on our list and like things come up. So is that intended to still continue even though we did pass that
Thank you,
package?
Jennifer. We sure hope so. There's $1 million of repairs to the remaining, what would that be, 60 or so bridges that weren't in that program. So we'd love to keep this program going with ongoing maintenance. That $1 million will probably touch 15 or 20 bridges in a year, which is really what we should be doing, or should have been doing the last probably 20 or 30 years. So we hope that it'll stay there.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, basically the bond was to take a huge chunk out of the stuff that we couldn't get to with the $1 million, and this is really our future of continuing to maintain all of that infrastructure.
Just ongoing maintenance,
Yeah.
lighter maintenance.
Perfect.
Would that include things like larger culverts, 36s and 48s, those kinds of things?
Not necessarily, Mayor, this one we try to apply to
Structure.
maintaining, this might be cleaning out the channel, this might be a repair to a wing wall, it might be a structural, parapet wall, it might be just a number of just ongoing maintenance with the existing structure remaining in place.
Thank you, sir. There was another hand up. Yes, sir.
All right, so next we have some of the upcoming projects in FYE '25 that were awarded some federal grants. We have the 2 State Highway 9 multimodal path projects. The first from 48 to 60th had a transportation alternative grant, so just over $1.1 million with a $222,000 local match. And then the 60th to 72nd Highway 9 multimodal path project also had the same type of grant. It's a just over $1.5 million project, including a $307,000 local match. And then in the sidewalk program, we had the 12th Avenue northeast from Robinson to Rock Creek Road and the Brook Street from Berry Road to Wiley Road. Those got the air quality small grant. It's just over $1 million with a $233,000 local match.
Yes, sir.
The Highway 9 multimodal path, those are the last two sections, if I recall. We weren't planning to go any further east than that.
to go all the way to the lake.
And that's 70 seconds that's
72nd gets you to the first connection.
First
to the
trailhead
trail
or
system,
whatnot,
but I know there's been discussion to go well beyond that, and that'll be a council decision.
sure. But for now, our plan has been to get to 72nd, and that's kind of been the
Exactly.
end of it.
All right, so as we kind of mentioned earlier, this is going to be the first year of the Bridge Maintenance Bond Program. It was approved by voters in October of '23. It's going to be 18 bridges over a span of 10 years, funded by the 2023 Bridge Maintenance Bond. They're going to begin construction on the first bridge in spring of 2024, and the total estimated cost for this entire program is $50 million. And then we have a list of the bridges shown that are included in that program as well. We also in the capital fund have the various plan updates that are currently ongoing. The current plan that we have is 18 years old. It's going to expire in 2025, so staff wanted to go ahead and get all these plans updated. Council appropriated $2.15 million for all of these plans. They include the comprehensive land use plan, the housing market analysis and affordability strategy, the comprehensive transportation plan update, the stormwater master plan update, the water master plan update, wastewater master plan update, the parks master plan update, and the public safety resource allocation study as well. So now on to the Norman Forward Fund. Some projects that are underway. We have the Young Family Athletic Center. This is a $41 million project that's fully funded. It's going to have 130,000 square feet facility with 8 basketball courts, 12 volleyball courts, an 8-lane competition pool, and a 4-lane warm water recreation pool, as well as the in-motion Norman Regional Health System Sports Clinic. They're expecting to have substantial completion on this project in February of 2024. In Norman Forward, we also have the Adult Wellness and Education Center. This was a $14 million project The ribbon has been cut on this project, and it opened on November 13th of 2023. We also have the Reeves Park Improvements Project. This is a $10 million project. It covers phase 1 of the overall Reeves Master Plan. The ribbon was cut on this, on the new fields in March of 2023, and they're going to dedicate the public art piece, which is a robot, on December 5th of this year. We also have the Griffin Park Improvement Project, which is $14 million. Phases 1 through 5 are all complete, and phase 6 is getting wrapped up. This is all part of the overall Griffin Park Master Plan as well. The ribbons were cut on the soccer fields in September of this year. All the work, including the roads along Robinson and 12th Avenue and High Meadows, are all expecting to be complete this winter as well on this project. This is just an overview of all the projects in Norman Forward that have been completed this fiscal year. We have the Reeves and Griffin Park renovations, the Adult Wellness and Education Center, the Rotary, Vineyard, Cherry Creek, and Earl Sneed Park renovations, and the Bentley Neighborhood Park is under construction now, but expecting to be completed during FYE '24. The remaining Norman Forward projects that we have are the new neighborhood parks, the existing neighborhood parks. We're going to continue to make lease payments on Griffin Park, the Canadian River Park, new trail developments throughout town, and the Saxon Park development as well. In the PSST fund, the Public Safety Sales Tax Fund, we have the Emergency Communications and Operations Center. This is a $17.1 million project, with $9.5 million being appropriated by council with the ARPA funds. The groundbreaking for this project was held on January 19th of 2023. We're looking to complete this project in summer of 2024. With this project, we also have discussion about the vehicle storage facility at this location. It was a part of the original design, but when they got under the bid process, they had to do some value engineering, and the vehicle storage facility was removed from the project. It was planned on being a 3,300 square foot facility that would secure over $900,000 of equipment, including the emergency command post, the emergency management trailers, and some mass care equipment. It's currently not funded in this project, but that is something that those that are going to be in that building would like to see about getting some funding to get that added to the project as we move in the budget process. And then this is just a list of the upcoming challenges. We have, just to keep in mind as we go through the budget process, we have the I-35 corridor study, the Oklahoma Turnpike Plan, the Access Oklahoma Turnpike Plan. In public transportation, we have the RTA land purchases and the zoning along those land purchases, and then all the recommendations from the transit study. We have the ongoing challenge of the fleet replacement. In IT, we have the Microsoft system upgrades that are needed to keep the system safe and functional. They have the stormwater infrastructure needs, the fleet fueling facility that needs repairs and upgrades, sidewalk gaps throughout town, the multiple master plan updates and the recommendations that are going to come from those plans, the traffic management center staffing, the North Base master plan and the implementation of those various phases, the Griffin Hospital redevelopment along the land, the discussions of the purchase of that land, the UNP arena and the area around that, the development that's being proposed, and as it was discussed in the recent Finance Committee meeting, the funds in the Center City TIF Fund and how that urban design and implementation plan affects the need for those funds as well going forward. And that's it for today. The next steps in this process are going to be on February 6th. We're going to go over the midpoint evaluations and some project proposals. And then if you have any questions or comments or requests.
I was just curious because we had talked about expanding the sidewalk budget. a little bit, what could that look like? Is that something we'll hear about in the midpoint?
Certainly, I mean, and that's something too that if you'd like to get with us to kind of give some direction on what you'd like that to look like, we'd be more than happy to get that together and get it into that preliminary budget.
Sean, what's our
Forward.
current sidewalk funding?
Slide that we just covered, I think it's about.
630.
It's normally about $420,000 annually in our normal projects. Last year, council put an extra $200,000, a little $200,000 with some extra projects in that. And right now, we have about $700,000 to do Lindsay Street from 24th to 12th southeast. And then the $1 million that we just got awarded to also do 12th Avenue from Robinson to Rock Creek, the 10-foot path along Griffin Park and Saxon, and then another little project on Brooks. So a lot of money.
This is a
being
busy
put in.
sidewalk year.
Yeah, we
but
got a lot
external
of
sources too, which is, we always will continue to search. So if we're in the $500,000 range, if there's a dollar value you'd like to see us start out with in that proposed capital budget, you know, if that's 750,000 right out of the chute, you never know how far it'll go. It'll just depends on, and we do a lot of work to try to fill in the gaps where, you know, to make contiguous sidewalks from point A to point B to actual destinations. So this is where art happens, not a lot of science and coming up with what that number looks like, and we'll just do projects until we've awarded contracts to spend all the money, so.
Is there grant funding for seeing better sidewalk connectivity in older neighborhoods, like a strong neighborhoods initiative kind of thing?
And a lot of this clean air grant money is designed that way, and our folks have put together the projects that we think apply, and we've been successful so far. There's a couple more coming in the next few months, and we think we'll be successful there. I would just say, Counselor, we've got one staff member that does sidewalks. So there's a point where if we get too much dedicated to sidewalks, we're gonna need some help, probably staff help or additional consultants. There's only so much you can do with one staff person.
Thank you.
We can work wheelbarrows, we can do all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
The project, sidewalk project for Classen, South Classen, all the way down to Constitution, I guess, that's already funded, right?
Yes.
And would be starting,
We have one easement to secure. Once
Okay.
we have that secured, we'll put the project out for bids. It's ready to go.
perfect. It's the most noticeable desire path in all of Norman, I think, down there where Classen curves and turns into 12th, and where the 7-Eleven is right there, where OU Motel and all that. It's worn pretty deep into the ground. So yeah, I'm excited to get that one going. So thank you.
All right, anything else?
One thing I would point out that's coming forward is the actual sale of the bonds for the bridge program. That'll be coming up in the next month or so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item number 2, we're going to go into executive session, so I'll give us a couple of minutes to get back organized.